is that we are walking blind through this. Yeah. If we had mass testing where anyone could get a test, we would know so much more about where we stand with this. And perhaps there wouldn't be the risks that are being taken right now, which is spreading this virus around the country. Again,
and the president's, Jonathan Lemire, he's talking about getting America back to work. Here's a great example of how the testing not only helps those who are sick, but actually those who catch the virus and heal. Let's look at Daniel's example, for instance. He may have had coronavirus. It sounds like a real possibility. He's not going to know whether he did or not because he didn't get the test results. But if he did get coronavirus, then he won't get it again, and he will be able to go back into the economy. If 100 million people are infected by the coronavirus, 80% are supposed to get through it with fairly mild conditions. That's 80 million people that could go back to work, go back to their lives, get the economy kick-started again. But because we aren't able to test all these Americans, we're never going to know who's been infected and who hasn't. And we keep flying in the dark. And it's the economy and its workers and its small businesses that will continue to suffer in the midst of this pandemic.
You're right, Joe, and it can't be underscored enough. The sea change that the president's tweets and retweets this morning would indicate if he does follow through. Now, we will hear from him at a briefing this afternoon. He'll be pressed upon this. Perhaps it's an idea he will walk away from. But we know, according to our reporting, he's been very impatient already, only a week or so into this, about how things are going, about the slow progress against this virus and the toll it's taking on the economy. And if he does push for this, if he suggests that 15 days would be enough and that America should go back to work, how does Dr. Fauci, how those other health experts, how do they handle that? Do they resign? Do they publicly break with him? That would be add another layer of real concern to this ever-deepening crisis.
Mike, it would be an act of suicide for our society if the president did that, an act of suicide for millions of Americans. It would be the height of recklessness and irresponsibility, as every medical professional says he needs to do just the opposite. And he's been told that for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it would be actually, you might be recreating the 1918 plague, Joe. It would be that serious. The other aspect of testing, and every doctor tells you testing, 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 that's the most critical component. But when we're testing NBA players before we're testing nurses who are working every day, police officers working every day, public safety officials out there, EMTs working every day, there's something wrong with our priorities.
All right. We really have to pray that the next presidential news conference is more serious and the president stops talking about himself, stops riffing, stops talking about things that are not true or that are not going to happen for weeks, and starts giving this country some uniform guidance.